Hello, Hickson UMC. For today's midweek devotion, I'd like to focus on grief and loss. In recent weeks, several people I know have experienced significant loss, including my own family. In the weeks between Thanksgiving and Christmas, my wife lost both her stepfather and her father. And just this last weekend, my family experienced the loss of one of our beloved pets, Jupiter, who'd served with me over the last several years as a therapy dog to local mental health facilities. So I was reflecting on these things today. I was reminded of the words of Henry Nouwen in a book called The Inner Voice of Love. This book, as described on its back, is a secret journal. It was written during the most difficult period of his life when he suddenly lost his esteem, his energy to live and work, his sense of being loved, and even his hope in God. And although he'd experienced excruciating anguish and despair, he was still able to keep a journal where he wrote each day a spiritual imperative to himself that he was hearing from God through his time of prayer. And I'd like to share one of those with you called Let Deep Speak to Deep. When you love someone or miss someone, you experience an inner pain. Bit by bit, you have to discover the nature of this pain. When your deepest self is connected with the deepest self of another, that absence may be painful, but it will lead you to a profound communion with them. Because loving each other is loving in God. When the place where God dwells in you is intimately connected with the place where God dwells in the other, the absence of the other is not destructive. On the contrary, it will challenge you to enter more deeply into communion with God, the source of all unity and communion among people. The experience of true love puts you more in touch with your deepest self. It is love in God. The pain you experience from the death or absence of another you love then always calls you to a deeper knowledge of God's love. God's love is all the love you need, and it reveals to you the love of God in the other, so the God in you can speak to God in the other. This is deep speaking to deep, a mutuality in the heart of God who embraces all of us. Death or absence does not end or even diminish the love of God that brought you to the other. It calls you to take a new step into the mystery of God's inexhaustible love. This process is painful, very painful, because the other has become a true revelation of God's love for you. But the more you are stripped of the God-given support of others, the more you are called to love God for God's sake. This is an awesome and even dreadful love, but it is the love that offers eternal life. I was reminded also of a passage from the book of Lamentations, chapter 3, 20 through 26. It says, I will never forget this awful time as I grieve over my loss. Yet I still dare to hope when I remember this. The faithful love of the Lord never ends. His mercies never cease. Great is his faithfulness. His mercies begin afresh each morning. I say to myself, the Lord is my inheritance. Therefore, I will hope in him. The Lord is good to those who depend on him, to those who search for him. So it is good to wait quietly for the salvation from the Lord. Have a blessed week, and know that no matter what you are experiencing, the love of God is in and surrounds you.